What is going on, everybody? Deathspread here, and I've got a fun one for you today. So let's do a little bit of a deep dive into that Activision privacy policy request that was sent over to me. Again, this is going back to what Exclusive Ace had found. If you aren't caught up to speed, what he found was, what a viewer of his found that's told him that he then told his viewership, which then spread like wildfire in the COD community, was you can submit a privacy request form to Activision, and they will send over to you your information, what they collect, what it's used for, etc., etc. And some of it feels creepy, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of it makes sense, right? Like your IP address, they use that for IP bans, and they need to know who's playing and who's doing what, so that if somebody does something against their code of conduct, they can go and take proper action. Well, what should be proper action, and other little things like that, where basically it's just a way for them to keep track. A lot of it is weird, a lot of it isn't weird, but I wanted to take a moment and look at the multiplayer data. So the zombies data, I really, really wanted to do a deep dive in because nobody really seems to, but the zombies data doesn't have a deep dive by people because there's no reason. The zombies data is quite literally just counts of how many did you kill, how many ghouls did you kill. Apparently we're killing ghouls in Citadel de More. I don't know what that means. I need to figure that out. How many disciples have you killed, which aren't in the game? Mimics have you killed, aren't in the game. I believe there was one in today's trailer for the tomb. How many, it's just, it counts your stats so that it can reward you correctly. There is no skill-based matchmaking in zombies, according to the data that was sent over, because there's no skill rating whatsoever. So whenever you play zombies, rest assured, it is as true to ping is king as it can be. I wish I had one of those routers where you could see where your server is connecting you to other players. I know that there's a way to do it, but I don't have one of those routers, and I'm not going to go and spend a lot of money for that. But basically, take my word for it, if nothing else, there is no skill-based matchmaking on the surface from what I can see based on the information that was sent over to me from Activision on what they collect on me in zombies. So zombies, although there is ranked play, that is obviously not in the game, so I would be expecting to see some sort of ranked mode in the near future for zombies, which I think would be astoundingly awesome. And at that point, they might implement skill-based matchmaking if you're doing ranked, which I think they should. That would be awesome. Again, though, that opens up the floodgates because maybe they'll start doing SBMM for zombies public. And if that's the case, now we have an issue. Regardless, though, that's why you don't really see people talking about this, because there's no need. It's just, it gives you counts on how many zombies you have killed. But for multiplayer, there's a whole discussion to be had, because on the multiplayer side of things, you have a lot of different things that are being tracked which are curious. So let's go through it. I was able to go and extract the game types, my skill rating for each game, the timestamps and the dates, the kills, assists, deaths, and then I went through and did the rolling elimination, which just adds on top of itself. So you can see here, it adds the kills and assists on top of the previous number, and that just goes all the way up, which ends up with 2317. So 2,317 eliminations at the time of my request. And then deaths, it's the same exact thing. The next number in the deaths column plus the previous number, which, I'm screwing that up, which ended up with 2429. So 2,317 kills, 2,429 deaths. So my average elimination death ratio, my ED ratio, which we're not going to get into what that sounds like, don't worry. We have the sum of all of this together, and this is just a way for me to cross-reference, making sure my math is correct, and it is. So the sum of the kills and assists is 2317 when you do it a separate way. And then 2429 for adding the deaths together, which again is just a way for me to cross-reference and make sure I'm doing this right. So 2429 and 2317, you take the average ratio, and you're looking at 0.953, 0.954 if you round up. So 0.95 is my elimination death ratio. I'm not a good multiplayer player. Let's just start there. But I also don't have an ego about this. Everybody has an ego about a little bit about everything, I think. But that just comes with being human. So as far as I go, I don't care. I'm bad at it. And we're going to get to the very obvious, I am bad at this when we get to skill. But yeah, so my average elimination death ratio is 0.95. My skill average is negative 181.14, or 13, 12, I'm sorry, 0.12. So I am in the negative, negative 181, almost negative 200. Now, for clarity, here is my multiplayer experience. I will play multiplayer with my friends who are good at multiplayer in Search and Destroy. And you're going to see, if we go over to game type, a lot of Search and Destroys, right? It is my most played mode. Not because I like it. I actually despise Search and Destroy. Who in their right mind would ever want to play a game mode where you have to wait longer than you actually play? The people who are good at the game, because they don't wait longer, because they don't die as much. I die a lot. So the skill of the lobby is usually higher than my own personal skill. That was a rhetorical question. The answer is because I'm bad at the game. So my skill level is far below that of the skill of the lobby based on the people that I play with, because they have, again, a higher skill rating. Because of that, it brings my skill rating down. And as you can see here, negative 365, negative 378, when I was in domination here, I went 12 kills, 4 assists, and 32 deaths. So the KD, your KD, I'm not going to call it ED ratio. ED is not. I'm not going to keep saying that. So my KD is very on the average side. And it's funny because there are people who are much higher skill levels than me, right? My skill rating itself, the average of negative 181. Oh, by the way, it takes the average formula of... This is all in Excel, if you can't tell. This is all in Excel. And yes, I did name this COD I fat-fingered the P. I'm sorry. So, it's funny because, like, Nero Cinema, very close to this this 0.95. I think it was negative, stop saying negative, 0.94, 0.93, I believe, somewhere around there. And I want to go a step further because, okay, so my average skill rating is negative 181.124. Okay, fine. My average elimination death ratio is 0.9538, based on the fact that I play a lot of Search and Destroy with friends who are much higher than me. And that causes me to have except for this apparent game where I popped off, 14-8, woohoo. 2-6. I go 2-6 or 2-6. 7-5, not bad. 11-8, really good. 15-17. But that was team deathmatch, right? And kill confirm, 1933. So you get the point of what I'm trying to say here, right? The lobby skill rating is much higher dependent on your actual game mode and lobby, than your own personal thing. For example, red light, green light, stop and go, 19. So my skill rating went from negative 122 to 19, back down to negative 122, almost like it was temporarily taken. So I want to take all this information and say, okay, well, that's cool. We're going to get to this in a little bit. Hold on. That's really cool. But let's take it a step further. Over here, the orange line is my skill rating, and the blue line is my kill death ratio, right? There isn't a whole lot of overlap here. You can see the general trend kind of as my KD went down, my skill rating went down. It kind of went up here. I believe that was when I did stop and go, red light, green light. And then it went back down, almost as though it was supposed to go down. I'm not really sure what that is right there. I'm sure if I go look, that might be the negative 300 that we looked at earlier. And then when it bounces back up, with now there's 100 and how many games is this? I do have that somewhere here. Total matches played, 193. So this is a course over basically 200 games, right? And you could see it's actually almost inverse, right? Where I have a dip in my KD, I have a rise in my skill rating. Where I have a dive in my KD, I have a rise in my skill rating. And vice versa, where I have a rise in my... Well, actually, here it seems pretty similar. It's very inversal of itself, in reversal, or whatever you call it. So whenever you see a rise in KD, you see a dip in SR, and vice versa. The actual trend line here is definitely on a downward spin, as you can see with my negative 181 skill rating. So that's kind of the general gist. I then also decided to take my average percentage time moving during the match. Don't know why they track it. Who cares? And we're looking at 75.12% of each match on average. I am running or walking or moving in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure that is affected by stop, red light, green light, though. So I then thought, well, okay, this is really cool. This is fascinating in a way, see how the backend system works for their skill-based matchmaking. But why? And I know that there's been a lot of discussion about the fact that if you take the bundles and you buy them, that affects the skill-based matchmaking system, aka at that point, EOMM, engagement optimized matchmaking. If you're unaware, the basic idea there is the more engaged with the game you are monetarily, the easier lobbies you're going to have. Now, clearly, in my case anyway, that didn't do a whole lot. Again, though, I did it to myself because I play hard game mode with friends who are really good when I'm not good. So I got what's called a pivot table, and I brought it over to a different sheet. Now, this worksheet shows you something, I would say, something that is very unique, right? It breaks down for us the actual stats of the different skins, because I have bought a fair decent amount of bundles up until I swore off bundles, which thankfully I've done. My average skill of losing matches, all right, so my average skill of losing matches is negative 167. My average skill rating of matches that I won is negative 191, which of course gets you the total of negative 181. But we could break it down by the actual skins themselves. And it's really interesting. So Bladesman is the most played skin, I believe, that I have. And we can see here all of the matches that I have played at the point of requesting this privacy policy report. And I mean, you can, if you're a data nerd, you are more than welcome to sit here and take it all in. But it appears, so if we take it here, right? Exterminator, that is a paid skin, negative 269. Frayed, Host, negative 209. Jackknife, not a paid skin, negative 326. Now, if you take a non-paid for skin, and mind you, it does show you how many matches you've played, and obviously there aren't a whole lot that I have played with certain skins. But Jackknife, for example, if you take it at face value, I have 100 skill rating better difference when I'm using a paid for skin. If you look at Raccoon Goon, though, you have negative 402 skill rating. That is worse than Jackknife. Matter of fact, I believe that is my worst skill rating on average. If we look at how many matches I played using it, it's 1. So how viable is this data? Probably not a whole lot. Look at Repairman, something that I definitely used, right? My average skill rating for Repairman is negative 277. Not very good. The one match I played with on Samantha's PJs, negative 168. Which then asks, okay, well, Raccoon Goon and Samantha's PJs, both non-paid for skins. Or, excuse me, not Raccoon Goon. Pardon me. Where was it? I just had it. Jackknife, right? Oh, I thought we... Alright, well, never mind. But you get the idea. The basic premise is if you pay for a skin, you should be seeing an increase in your skill rating. You should be seeing easier lobbies. Well, if you look at this, SC1, negative 205 skill rating. And then Taskmaster, I don't know if that's paid for or not, but I know the replacer is, negative 306. So, I'm personally, on my own side, seeing that when I use a skin I paid for, I'm not seeing a difference. Bladesman is my most used skin. I feel pretty good in saying that. And I have, negative 141. That is really good. I mean, comparatively. But if you look at this, Merciless, you have 100 skill rating. So, I don't know if Merciless is a paid for skin. Actually, I believe so let's actually take a look. I forgot that I had this open. This worked out really well. So if we go to operators, now let me get my controller here and see. You're seeing this real time. Where is Merciless? Let's see. No, it's Goliath. I'm not going to cut any of this out because I want to show you guys that this is something that I'm not lying to you about or anything like that. My name is SC1 Safeguard. I didn't even realize actually that a lot of these skins, so it takes the name of the skins themselves and not just the operator name, right? Frayed. So actually, let's take a look at Frayed. Because I play a lot of matches with Frayed, considering that that's what reset whenever I prestige. Yeah, see? So this is actually definitely my most used skin. So Frayed, a non-paid for skin, the base gray skin is negative 170. That is better than a lot of the skill average ratings here. 170 better than Vengeance. Can we find Vengeance possibly? So you get my point. Based on the data, I am personally not seeing a whole lot of difference in my personal skill rating for the skins that I'm wearing. Now, it is totally possible that the reason why I'm not seeing that is I don't play a lot of multiplayer. I just don't. I do not play a lot of multiplayer. I don't find it fun as zombies, and as such, I'm going to play a lot with zombies. But when I do play it, Merciless, here we go. So that is the cool steampunk looking one that I got. Where is Merciless? I just saw it. Yeah, Merciless right here. So if we compare Merciless to Frayed, 100, okay, you can make the argument that I did get a boost on my skill rating because I use Merciless. And then let's compare that to Repairman, where I played less. Okay, but you can see there, Repairman, negative 277, much worse. And what was the other one I was looking at? Noct Raider. Oh, I could have swore I played a lot more with Noct Raider. Oh, okay, well. But yeah, so Jackknife, a non-pay for skin, negative 300, but I only played 3 matches with it. So let's look at Frayed, negative 170. Host, negative 209. I played a half-decent amount of matches with Host, 209, so 30 less skill rating there. Merciless. All right, so yeah, so you can this really does support both arguments, right? You can say, yes, I have better skill rating with paid for skins. No, I don't have better skill rating with paid for skins. What that tells me personally is it doesn't affect it as much as some people think. If we look at the summary of kills as well, 202 kills with Frayed versus, where's Bladesman, 70, 100, you know. You also really need to look at the actual data that supposedly should impact your skill rating. So this is just a little bit of a deep dive to show you guys what I'm seeing on my end as a zombies player who doesn't play a whole lot of Black Ops 6 multiplayer itself and is more of a zombies player. I'm not seeing a lot of evidence here that the skill rating is impacted by paid for skins. That said, the skill rating versus kill death ratio is a 1-to-1. And I think, honestly, based on how inverse a lot of this stuff is, I do believe that skill-based matchmaking takes in your skill more than engagement with bundles. But mind you, I could have gone further and I could have done formulas and data and just different mathematical equations to get different equations for the skins themselves. If you want me to do that, definitely let me know. I wouldn't mind spending probably a long time for someone like me. I'm good at technology. I'm not good at math. I use technology to do math for me, but when I need to start doing math on my own, I'm not the best. I digress. If you want me to do that and spend the time doing that, I would be more than happy. Just let me know in the comments. Actually, I can hover over. Yeah, negative 462. Let's do an F, negative 462. And that was Search and Destroy. And how did I do this match? That was 92. That was 12-8. 7 kills and 5 deaths. I don't know why that skill rating was so low. Oh, you know what? It was probably because I was doing really good. Yeah, you can see I was on upheaval for my skill rating here. So I went from negative 200, where I was happy with me. I went to 186, 184, 166, 110, 80, 90, and then it slapped me across the face with a frozen fish. Negative 462 when I was playing Search and Destroy with my buddies. So, you know, it's really fascinating to look at this. But, I mean, if you just look at the correlation between my skill rating, which is the orange, and my KD, which is the blue, you can easily tell, in my opinion, there is a 1-to-1 ratio for your skill of the rating itself, especially when you take into consideration the averages of skill with each with each skin here. So there you go. That is my overall kind of report, I guess. I don't know what else to call this, but that's my report on my data for multiplayer. Don't forget, Mimics and Disciples are coming back to Zombies. I did make a video on that, and I wish the algorithm picked it up more because I think it's really cool to know that, but I digress. You know, there is a lot of information here about just in general your ability to play the game. And as someone who is on the lower end of the spectrum for skill, who moves apparently 75% of the time during my matches and uses a lot of paid for skins, it's not exactly helping me when I'm playing with my friends. But do I solo queue a lot? I do not. So take it how you will. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this was a little bit of an interesting one in terms of numbers. And remember, the Summer Star loves you. If you don't know yet. Again, let me know if you want me to do a deeper dive. This was kind of just my impressionable thoughts. First time seeing all this information with you. Aside from setting it all up and just trying to make sure everything was in order. And Jesus loves you. Have a great day, you guys. Take care. Have a good one. And goodbye.